Hello, welcome. My name is Natalie. Since yesterday we did have this triangle on Bitcoin that we did break to the upsides. Right now, obviously what we want to see is when this pullback is over, if it's gonna stop right at the Fibonacci levels or if it will continue back down. I need to find my entries on the lower time frames. That's what I'm gonna talk to you about on how we can look and how I see the market when the market is going to the downside and when the market is actually breaking to the upside. So where I do find my entries on the lower time frames. Remember, I am no financial advisor, so please you need to look everything up yourself first. But continue watching this video. I'm gonna show you what I see and why I see it. We're starting off with Bitcoin, and we could see on the 4-hour I did have this triangle right here, and we were talking about this red candle yesterday, that if it closed inside of the triangle we could definitely see the market coming breaking to the upside, and it did. It never really retested the resistance that we had. It just broke to the upside. What I did now was that I took a Fibonacci level from the low, that is 47247, to the high, and that's 48640. So if the market comes back down here and retest the Fibonacci levels that we do have, we could potentially see the market making its higher low, and then it might continue to the upside. We're looking at what happened before, where the target can be. So we do have, if the market comes back down, it can definitely retest the previous high that we did around here, and that is 16th of August. So if it comes back down here, we can look at the line chart too and see how this resistance or this Fibonacci level actually is a pretty good zone, because the market is always like goes back, retest previous higher lows, lower highs or lower lows. And obviously we can see that this Fibonacci level is combined with the previous higher high of 13th of August and also 16th of August. So if it comes back down here, we can see that it actually retesting the previous high that we did have for a couple of weeks ago. So it does make sense if it comes back down there. If we're looking at the lower time frames, I want to see how it looks. I think I took it. I already copy and pasted the same Fibonacci levels to the lower time frames or to the line chart. I mean, it's the same thing, but I only use the lower time frames because I want to see where it can come back and retest. It can also come back down here and retest it, but let's see. If it comes back down here to the Fibonacci levels, we do respect London session on the 16th of September. So if the market comes back down here and retests and gives us, as I always talking with you guys about, is that I want to see the market doing higher highs and higher lows. Say for example, if the market comes back down here and we start to see higher highs and higher lows, it looks so good. I mean, the market looks like that. What I do is that I take my Fibonacci levels from the high to the low, or from the low to the high, I'm sorry, and I'm trying to find my entry on the Fibonacci level that I will have around this area. But obviously I want to see how the candlestick is formed, and as I always tell you, I want to see candlestick on the on the higher time frames that is, so it looks like it's actually on its way up. So if I have a doji or something like that against these Fibonacci levels, and if I see on the lower time frames that the market is actually on its way up, that's how I find my entries. And sometimes you can see that, okay, let's say I have an entry on the wicks. If we're looking at the high time frames, you can see that, okay, the entry is on the wick. But on the lower time frames, it's actually a body that I'm going into, because I can see that I do have the rejections on the lower time frames around the Fibonacci levels. Because on the higher time frames, it's a wick. On the lower time frames, it's a body. And that's how I combine these two. So sometimes when you're having your entries on the wicks, it's because you've been going down to the lower time frames to find your entries, and that's how I do it. So definitely You can see right now that we are in a downtrend on the lower time frames because we are making our pullback. Because the market did spike to the upside yesterday, so right now it needs to come back down, do its pullback. Our job is to find the ending of the pullback. So we'll see, okay, the pullback is over right now, we start to buy the market again. Because you can see right now a downtrend. But on the overall picture, we do have a uptrend. So what we're looking for is buy opportunities, or that's what I'm looking for. So what I need to see is that when this downtrend is over, I want to see the market starting to do high highs and high lows, high high and high lows. So maybe we do have to break this trend line. If the market comes back down, maybe I need to find my entry after I see that the market is breaking the previous lower high. So for example, let's say that the market comes back down here, and now it's breaking the previous lower high. And this is market structure, guys. And now it starts to move its way up. So where I want to find my entry is obviously when I see the downtrend at this end. But how do I know the downtrend is not in downturn anymore? I need to see the market break into the upside, and it needs to break the previous lower high for it to be a new higher high and a higher low, because this one never broke the previous lower, which is this one. So that's how I find my entries, and on that I'm using Fibonacci levels, depending on what time frame I think looks the best. Because sometimes when you're looking at the higher time frames, it doesn't look good. So let's say if I'm looking at the daily, the market doesn't give you anything special right now. It's just like huge candles. So that's why you're breaking everything down, and you want to see where the market actually makes the most sense. So the 2 hour and 4 hour, it looks kind of the same. But you can see that we did have the downtrend. So yesterday when the market broke this triangle that we did have, this is where the market actually broke the downtrend, when we broke this previous lower high. Might come back down to the Fibonacci level that I do have on the 4 hour, respect it, and then it continues up. So this push that we did have to the upside was the one who broke the little downtrend that we had here, making us a triangle. But this is only market structure, and that's why we're using the lines and trying to figure out, okay, now it's breaking the previous lower high. We are in a uptrend because it's an uptrend when you're breaking the previous lower high. Because lower lows and lower highs are for a downtrend. Higher highs and higher lows are our uptrend. When you're combining market structure on the higher time frames with the lower time frames, and you're starting to combine these and you need to puzzle everything together, that's where you find your entries. But you need to combine your brains also for it to make sense. And it's not just, okay, so the market comes back down here, let's buy the market. Oh no, you need to look at the candlesticks and see how the market is moving, and how, is it going down, or is it only retesting so it's on its way up? For Bitcoin right now, we are in a little downtrend. You can see on the higher time frames that we do have huge candles, and it's just going right down right now. So there's no way for me to be able to buy a market looking like this, because I need the market to come to a respected area. That means in this case, I want the market to come down to the Fibonacci levels. And if I see that the market is on its way up, that's when I'm starting to looking at my buy opportunities. If we're going to Ethereum, you can see on the higher time frames that we're also at this downtrend. We are respecting the previous high that we did have here, the previous resistance, and it actually looks kind of perfect. You can see how I can copy and paste the resistance and see that this is the resistance that we do have on the higher time frames. So if the market comes back down here, obviously we want to see how the market reacts to it. Why? Because it's a previous resistance. So the market broke the resistance, it broke the lower high, because this was a lower high, this was a lower high. The market came back up, broke the lower high on the higher time frames, meaning that we broke the downtrend, because this was the downtrend. We broke to the upside, comes back down, retest the previous lower high, make a high, a higher low. And after a higher low, what do we want? We want a new higher high, because it needs to be higher than the previous higher high. Comes back down, retest, make another higher high. Market did go sideways for a couple of days. Then it broke to the upside, comes back down, break the consolidation, and we just might continue to the upside. Using the lower time frames to see when the lower time frames trend is over, and then I can find my entries on the lower time on the wicks, because I'm taking my entries off of the lower time frames. See the lower time frames breaking the downtrend. Obviously you're gonna see that much faster than you're seeing it on the higher time frames, because the market needs more hours for us to see what the market is actually doing. Taking the Fibonacci from 3281 to 3619, we can see that we're in the Fibonacci levels at 1561%, and we're also retesting the previous lower high that we did have here. If we're copying and pasting this one to the higher lower time frames, what we want to see right now in the zone is to see if the market's going to break to the upside or not, to find our buy opportunities. But obviously we want to see the market breaking the lower high for us to be able to see if it's breaking the downtrend now, turning into an uptrend. On Ethereum are at the zone right now. So I just have to wait for a couple of more hours before I see what the market is actually doing. And the same thing goes for Bitcoin. I want the market to come back down a little bit more, because we can see that we're having a huge candle to the downside. So right now we have a big momentum to the downside. The market is still doing its pullback. So when the pullback, if the market comes to these areas that I was talking about, we want to see if on the lower time frames that we're actually breaking it to the upside. I hope you understood what I was talking about. Let's see what's happening tomorrow. Please comment below, like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and we see each other tomorrow. Bye bye.